Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things right through a common sense lens. And man, I'll tell you what, there is just nothing but good news coming out of Star Trek for all of the common sense fans out there, boys and girls. From the Skydance merger over there with Paramount, who the complete and total gutting and cancellation of all of these absolute abominations that are Kurtzman's version of Star Trek out there over the last few years that we've been getting, boys and girls. Yes, the lowest ratings, the lowest viewership, the most absolutely divisive and universally despised Star Trek that we have seen ever before in our lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. Well, a lot of that is getting canceled left and right. And now that we know that the Skydance merger is official, and I believe will be going through and finalized on August 7th, with all of the absolute abomination executives over there at Paramount being fired and purged from the ranks of Star Trek. Ladies and gentlemen, this latest rumor, this latest information that it might as well take is as good as gospel out there. Another abomination that the fans have absolutely ratioed into oblivion. Star Trek Starfleet Academy, after literally just getting announced, after just having a trailer drop, now is reportedly going to be canceled because guess what? The fans decide, and all things Kurtzman Trek outside of Picard Season 3 have been an absolute abomination. And ladies and gentlemen, you can see right here from thatparkplace.com, because everybody is talking about this. Even CBR, all the way back in early July, was worried that this franchise may indeed be DOA before it even comes out. And of course, our wonderful friends over there at cosmicbook.news have been talking about this as well, and we're one of the first places to jump on top of it. But we do love that picture from thatparkplace.com, so we're going to start off with their headline and jump into all of the juicy details over at cosmicbook.news, because of course you cannot help but look at that picture and go, what the hell is even that, ladies and gentlemen? And as somebody very well pointed out, stating the absolute obvious over there on Gary's channel, shout out to Nerdrotic, go check him out for some reason if you haven't, because of course this is just nothing more than a fat black woman being cast in Star Trek, ladies and gentlemen. So we're getting into all of the juicy details that are going on with all of this, where this rumor comes from, its reliable source, and of course what this could mean for the future of Star Trek, and of course whether or not the fans are going to be happy after this Skydance merger and acquisition. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,100 subscribers. We're heading our way towards 2,200. I think we're sitting at like 2,120, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, let us know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. Did you watch the trailer for Starfleet Academy? Did you add to the like or the dislike ratio? Did you leave a comment down below letting Paramount know exactly what you think of this kind of Kurtzman abomination Trek out there? Did you enjoy the trailer? Are you sad to see that it's probably going to be canceled after just one season? Or do you think all of this is just a bunch of rumor BS out there and it will have a long and healthy life out there with the new Skydance merger? Or if you're one of the common sense folks out there that are simply praising Jesus, this thing won't exist beyond one season. Let us know what you think about all that in the comments section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, we're going to jump back over to thatparkplace.com just for a second, because I want to explain this picture to you. Although I am by far no Star Trek expert, I wouldn't even necessarily consider myself a Trekkie, but I do love me some Star Trek. And of course, at the end of the day, I am a fan of fans above all else. And when your fandom is under attack, I will do my best to ride in on my very, very small horse with my very, very small flag and my very, very small shield and my very, very small sword and try to defend you. But I, even as a, I guess, quote unquote, common Star Trek fan out there, even I know this abomination out there. Why? Because I'm smart enough to listen to other folks out there. So as a DS9 fan, which is a show that honestly probably Voyager and DS9, I've probably seen more episodes than anybody out there. If you don't know who this character is supposed to be, this is a character from a race that literally was genetically engineered to be nothing more than soldiers. It was also an all-male race, which of course obviously gives you a giant glaring possibility. But of course, Star Trek in the Kurtzman era, all of this new Trek out there, explains it by the fact that she's also half Klingon. So apparently one of these all-male soldiers that were honestly probably not able to reproduce in any way, shape, or form and were probably completely and totally sterile because you wouldn't want them forming familia bonds and having this exact same thing kind of happen out of your soldiers, hooked up with a Klingon and produced this abomination, boys and girls. So yeah, boy, I wonder why the fans aren't happy. And we'll get into that ratio here in just a minute as well. Starfleet Academy Season 2 canceled before Season 1 even airs. Rumor, but as we've seen before, our rumor mill is pretty reliable. Female sent all Sue Storm story over there in Fantastic Four. How about that female Silver Surfer that I got yelled at for saying Marvel was absolutely going to do? Yeah. Me thinks maybe we should listen to the rumor mill a little bit more, boys and girls. Paramount Starfleet Academy series is already under fire. It hasn't even premiered yet. Now comes word that season 2 may already be canceled, according to a new rumor dropped by Tachyon Pulse podcast on YouTube. And Tachyon Pulse has been a very reliable source and been very accurate since they launched on the scene talking about these Star Trek rumors. Methinks they do indeed have inside sources over there at Paramount. If true, this could be a brutal vote of no confidence in Academy, which already suffered heavy backlash following the disastrous teaser trailer, currently have racked up over 30,000 dislikes on YouTube to just 69,000 dislikes. Yes, boys and girls, and I'll ask again as I've asked before, give me one example in modern history out there, in any history at all, of a single project out there that has gotten disliked into oblivion, that has gotten ratioed on YouTube and has been beyond a shadow of a doubt financially successful. There is not a single one out there. And guess what? Star Trek Starfleet Academy is no different, because now, at the time of recording of this video, it currently has 32,000 downvotes to only 7,000 upvotes, boys and girls. And that is after 486,000 views. For almost 500,000 views. And it's got 32,000 downvotes. Let's see what some of the customers have to say. Some of the fans, you know, the audience, the people you're supposed to be catering to actually make your franchise successful. But of course, Kurtzman Trek hasn't done that at all. It has been nothing more than catering to the non-existent Smartian audience, completely and totally ignoring, and if not downright insulting, traditional Star Trek fans, aka Trekkies, that have made the franchise the success that it has been for literal generations. What do they have to say? Seems like a great time to rewatch The Next Generation. Is this a Jaguar commercial? Why does this trailer give off teen drama vibes? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you didn't know, this was sold to Paramount as the Harry Potter of Star Trek. Yes, boys and girls, God forbid we make, I don't know, a Star Trek series inside of Star Trek. No, instead, we're going to get the Harry Potter of Star Trek. Yes, with all of the teen drama and angst of a CW show. Boy, doesn't that scream Star Trek, boys and girls? This guy, I love it. I'm just here for the comments section. I love you guys. Star Trek Beyond Recovery. I think that's pretty accurate at this point. This looks exactly how I knew it would and hoped it wouldn't. One day, Star Trek will come back in all its glory. Today is not that day. And honestly, it's one of them situations where I do at least have a little bit of hope, a little bit of cautious, very cautious optimism with the new CEOs and executives that's going to come in and take over Paramount. Because if rumor be true, which you know we love in dealing with ourselves some rumor mill around here, if rumor be true, the kids that are using daddy's money to buy Paramount are actually big fans of the Star Trek movies. No, not the Jar Jar Abrams ones. No, the original ones like Star Trek The Motion Picture and Wrath of Khan. Apparently, they are really big fans of those movies. So if nothing else, if we could get to a return of form of that version of Star Trek, I think it would be a drastic improvement over what we're currently getting. And the best part about Star Trek is you can just ignore everything Kurtzman's doing and give us a completely and totally new ship with a new crew and a new cast and all of that kind of stuff and give us good quality Trek again, which at the end of the day, that's all fans really want. Star Trek that looks and acts and reads and watches like Star Trek. It's not a strange concept. To boldly go where no one wants this franchise to go. I'm sorry, could you make the generic music even louder? I could still hear the narration. So this just goes on and on and on and on. The fans just aren't having it in any way, shape, or form. According to Tachyon Pulse, a source claims that Skydance, which now oversees Paramount content, has seen early edits of Starfleet Academy Season 1, and they're not massively impressed. And why would they be? Because clearly, the fans aren't impressed either. And at the end of the day, if you don't make the fans happy, you're going to fail, which is exactly what this is going to do. I mean, I guarantee you, trust me, somebody inside of Skydance knows how bad the numbers for these Kurtzman Trek series have been way better than we do. They know the hate on this trailer way better than we do. If you don't think they have seen that ratio, they have seen those dislikes on that trailer, well, then I probably got some very nice oceanfront property in Arizona that I can convince you to buy. Worse, the show is reportedly very expensive. Wow, that's not a traditional Hollywood trend we've seen over the past decade, now is it? Wow, it's a super expensive television show based on a bunch of identity politics with a bunch of diverse characters and cast in the modern era? Who would have ever seen something like that happen? Who could have thunk of it? Who could have thunk of it at all? So which might be tipping the scales towards shelving season 2 before it gets rolling? It is, and it will. The YouTuber goes over how, due to the current contract with Paramount, Secret Hideout, Alex's Kurtzman production company, has the rights to produce Trek shows and pitch them to Paramount first. If Paramount passes, as it did with Prodigy, Secret Hideout can shop them to Netflix, Amazon, or elsewhere. And obviously, we've already seen that even the current leadership, the ones that aren't getting fired, are already sick and tired of Kurtzman Trek and don't want to pay for it anymore. Because Prodigy, which is funny because I've actually heard that Prodigy is actually the best out of the new Star Trek that we've gotten, right, got shipped over to Netflix. So clearly, they don't believe in anything Kurtzman is producing out there. So why would Skydance, who we already know is making drastic cuts and will not have any diversity, inclusion, and equity offices inside of their company, which means inside of Paramount, inside of Star Trek going forward, why would they not just get rid of and cancel all of this garbage? Yes, this all logically makes sense, especially with a fan ratio like they got on that trailer. Why would you continue dumping money into something that is already massively expensive that the fans clearly do not want? Logically, this all makes sense. Here we got here. That scenario may now be playing out again with Academy, according to the YouTuber. What I've been told is that Skydance have already seen a lot of Academy Season 1. They've seen, obviously, a lot of the early edits and things, and Skydance is not massively impressed, and it is massively expensive. Two things that equal the death nail to any franchise out there. I mean, even Marvel has had to admit that they are drastically cutting back on their movies and their television shows because they're broke and they've been spending way too much money. And Skydance is not going to continue that path going forward with Paramount because Paramount is bankrupt, which is why Skydance is buying them. They basically got this deal where they can do whatever they want with Star Trek in theory. They just have to give Paramount the first dibs, much like the exact same kind of contract that Warner Brothers has with like Bad Robot and a few different others out there to produce DC content. But just like what we saw Warner Brothers do with that absolute abomination Batman show that animated series that they had out there, Warner Brothers was like, yeah, no, we're not paying for that. No, we don't want it. Thanks for producing it. Take that garbage somewhere else. And at least, I guess, fortunately enough for the studio that produced it and all the people involved in producing it, Amazon bought it. Amazon also is stupid, but fortunately enough, Jennifer Salke has now been fired, and you probably won't see that kind of stuff happen again, which very possibly could end up being like that, which of course is one of the reasons why CBR right here said the show may already be dead despite a 2-season order, right? Because Paramount's not going to put up with it. And that's what they go on to talk about as well, is all of this stuff going on with the Paramount merger, how they could cancel anything that they wanted, how this stuff could be shopped off to somebody else out there. And of course, if nobody else is willing to buy season 2 and put it on their streaming service, guess what? That's as good as canceled, because you're never going to see any of it ever again. And if Skydance is already looking like, yeah, we don't want no part of this, yeah, likely ain't gonna be able to buy, ain't gonna be able to pitch this to anybody else to buy season 2 either, because Amazon is done with their activist garbage out there, and that's exactly what Kurtzman Trek has been, activist garbage. This is exactly what happened to Star Trek Prodigy. Paramount bailed on season 2, and Secret Hideout sold it to Netflix, which is now airing instead. Netflix opted not to renew it for a 3rd season. Guess it exactly, ain't exactly hitting with numbers over there either. If Academy season 2 has already been filmed or is near completion, said to be starting production soon, the same route could happen, especially if Paramount walks away. If true, this would be a major embarrassment for Alex Kurtzman, which is exactly what he deserves. Kurtzman is the reason, much like Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy, Star Trek is in the situation that the franchise finds itself in. His ego, his narcissism, and believing that he was smarter, better, and faster than Gene Roddenberry in every single way gave us Kurtzman Trek, who co-show runs Academy. It could also reflect on Skydance's deeper skepticism about continuing to fund his creative vision for Star Trek, as it's also rumored a Star Trek reboot will happen once the merger officially goes through. Thank the Lord in heaven, because a reboot of Kurtzman Trek is exactly what you're needed. Skydance, I know there's probably nobody over there that's watching this, but I hope to God there is somebody else out there, and a YouTuber that is much bigger than me and much better at this than I am, that is saying this, that you will listen to. Bring back Terry Metalis. Give that kid the keys to the kingdom and all the money he wants for Star Trek. He will give you good Trek again, I promise you. Unfortunately, there's nobody at Paramount over there that's actually watching my videos. But hey, you know what? We're putting it out in the zeitgeist anyway, and we'll pray to the Lord in heaven. Please, Father, let that smart decision come to fruition. In Jesus Christ's name, we pray. Amen. So if nothing else, we can at least pray it happens. If nothing else. If nothing else, boys and girls. This rumor, unconfirmed but plausible, logically it makes sense, signals serious uncertainty around the future of Academy and Trek under Kurtzman. Even if season 1 airs on Paramount in 2026, a canceled season 2 would send a clear message. The studio isn't confident in the product. It would also seemingly corroborate the rumors of all the Star Trek reboots being under Skydance. With Strange New Worlds going off the rails with musical numbers and puppet episodes, officially ends with season 5, thank the Lord in heaven, and Starfleet Academy already being ratioed online, the franchise looks more adrift than ever. Star Trek season 1 is set to premiere on Paramount Plus in early 2026. New episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 3 are currently streaming. So literally everything we've heard announced out there has essentially have an end date, right? Star Trek Discovery, we know, has already ended. We know Strange New Worlds is coming to an end with season 5. We know that Prodigy is going to end and not be renewed with season 3. So why wouldn't this get canceled too? Why wouldn't this abomination, race swap, gender swap, team drama, Harry Potter version of Star Trek not get canceled? If it really is as expensive as the rumors are saying, which concerning the large size of the cast, concerning the fact this is a sci-fi series and all of the rest of the kind of garbage CGI that we've seen inside of the trailer, why wouldn't it be really expensive? And guess what, boys and girls? Paramount's broke. And despite them having some of literally the only successful television shows that people are actually enjoying out there across all of the streaming services, i.e. the Sheridanverse and all of the spinoffs and everything else that have gone along with that, for the most part, Star Trek is in the situation it's in because of Paramount. And they have done nothing but damage what was once a very financially viable and successful brand. Was it as big as Star Wars? No. But did Star Trek always have a very loyal, successful fan base that showed up whenever they did stuff? Absolutely. You still can't go to a con and not see Trekkies show up in droves and have a bench and have a franchise and showing off all their stuff and telling everybody how awesome the original stuff was out there. That will never go away. But what Kurtzman has done to Star Trek is an absolute abomination. It is heresy and deserves to be purged with a heavy flamer. And it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, if rumor be believed, Skydance is that heavy flamer that may purge the activists from inside of Star Trek, burn away all of these abominations, and actually give us good Star Trek again. Because at the end of the day, that's all the fan base really wants. We don't want your ideology politics. We don't want your prioritizing of a bunch of race swapping, gender swapping, garbage storylines that try to talk down to us and educate us. We don't want that. We want good sci-fi. We want good Star Trek. And at the end of the day, if we can actually get that under Skydance again, well, ladies and gentlemen, the future may be bright for Star Trek fans out there. But you know what the future is not bright for? Star Trek Academy, because that is going to end up being an absolute abomination. Starfleet Academy Season 1 will hopefully be the last. And if not, it will definitely be the second season that will be the last of Kurtzman Trek. And after the abomination that it has been, it's exactly what Kurtzman deserves, because this has been nothing more than garbage new Trek. And guess what? The fans don't want it, and the ratio is absolutely proves that. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Starfleet Academy is done for. It will not exist in the future, and I think all of the Trek fans can be very happy to hear that. Lord in heaven, let the rumors be true.